Every episode of The Gauge is brought to you by Bill Fick Ford and the WCRA. Guys, Bill Fick Ford is the #1 Super Duty dealer in the country for the 4th year in a row. You guys have heard me rant and rave about Bill Fick Ford for the absolute best buying experience in the car industry, truck industry. Bill Fick Ford's the place to go. I bet you remember the old ad where I said I was getting a new Super Duty. Well, here's the keys for that. Bill Fick Ford delivers, guys. No bull discounts, no bull interest rates, the best buying experience you can get. And if you are not local to Huntsville or the Houston area, he'll deliver it to you just like he did to me. Bill Fick Ford. Rodeo Corpus Christi has nearly tripled its added prize money from 2019 and will be one of the largest payout rodeos this summer. That's $545,000 with no entry fees. Rodeo Corpus Christi will be the first stop of WCRA's Triple Crown of Rodeo. The only way to qualify for the Rodeo Corpus Christi is by nominating your rides and runs with the WCRA. You can win $1 million by nominating your rides and runs and earning points with the WCRA. Through the Triple Crown of Rodeo, the WCRA will award this $1 million cash prize to any one athlete or collective of athletes who win first place at any 3 consecutive WCRA major rodeos. A common misconception with the WCRA is that it is only for the pros. That's the farthest thing from the truth. It's designed for the underdogs to have their fair chance. If you feel like you have the ability to compete against the best in the world, but maybe you don't feel like it. Maybe you can't afford to go down the road for a full year. Maybe you got a job. Well, the WCRA is made for you. The WCRA has awarded more than $8.5 million to rodeo athletes in just a couple of years. To learn more, visit WCRArodeo.com and learn how you can earn a spot at Rodeo Corpus Christi and possibly be rodeo's next millionaire.
What sets Resistol apart is the legacy of the cowboys who wear the brand. These traditions are passed down from fathers to sons, from heroes to future champions. Since 1927, Resistol has been handcrafting the finest American-made cowboy hats. Generation after generation, we live it every day.
This is The Gauge with host Chance Conradu.
Are you freaking serious? It's Conrado. This is The Gauge, and I am Chance Conrado. On this episode of the podcast, we have got Cowboy Channel's own Janie Johnson. Janie and I have a very fun conversation, and it's a little different. We get to see things from a different perspective, a non-contestant perspective from media side. So I thought it was pretty fun and interesting, and Janie is a very colorful person, so check it out. This guy put those there, and it creates this issue.
Are you always at this angle?
I have to be. We're limited by this 8x12 square thing.
I'm just gonna... I'm an eye contact person.
Are you? Is that your thing?
I don't
Do you make
know.
people uncomfortable with your eye contact?
I don't know. Do you feel uncomfortable?
No, but you'd have to do a lot to make me uncomfortable.
I don't know if this is a fact about me, but people say that like my eyes, like they look around when I talk, which is weird considering.
But your face never moves? Your eyes just go?
I don't know.
You have a wandering
or
eye?
like, I don't know if this is true because I've never noticed this about myself, but like Anthony Lucia actually pointed this out when we were at PBR. He says that I look at people's like facial features. Like I'm looking at you, but maybe like it looks like I'm looking at your nose or like your mouth or
So
like.
you make people question themselves? That you make people...
I don't know. I never noticed that about myself
Make
until
people
he mentioned it.
self-conscious?
And I was like, do I? I don't know. And so then I started thinking about where I was looking, and then I got real intense with the eye contact because I'm consciously focused on the eyes.
Well, you're usually looking at a camera, right? And the camera doesn't look back.
Thank God. I'm terrible at public speaking, actually.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Because-
happy to announce to meet that you're here tomorrow. What?
Yeah, whatever day it is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Remember that thing you did?
No.
Yeah, you do too many of those.
I don't
But it was the
remember.
only one I went on, and you said something really weird when Ivy and I went on the Cowboy Channel.
Oh, what did I say?
Something like, very nice to meet, to announce
Yeah.
you.
Well, we're excited. I said something. I do that all the time. People just don't notice because nobody watches the show. and really pays attention. When people watch the show, they're like, hanging out with their kids or cooking dinner, or like it's in the background. So they don't notice when I say weird stuff like, we are excited to introduce, I don't know what I said, but I said something about being excited to introduce, to meet, blah, blah, blah.
It was like a giant contradiction, but I liked it. It was funny. I was actually really impressed by how you did all that.
What do you mean?
Well, you've shot from the hip. I assumed there'd be like a teleprompter or something.
Oh, no, we have no teleprompter at all. I can't read from the teleprompter. I learned that. I have no future hopes for a job in news because during COVID at the beginning, like when I first took this job, I took the job at Cowboy Channel about the week before the American. So then it was the American, and then COVID hit like the day after the American, kind of. It was all ominous.
It actually was
it
really
ominous.
Did. Because it's like you felt it.
Yeah, it was like the American, and then it was like
inside
Monday
AT&T.
is COVID.
Yeah, you were inside AT&T, and it was like, there's a lot less people than were here last year.
Yeah.
It was like right before a zombie apocalypse is what it felt like.
Yeah, so last year's American, and then COVID started, and then we were doing Western Sports Roundup, and basically it was just an hour of, hey, this is canceled, this is canceled, this is canceled. Like, it was a terrible show because there was nothing to talk about other than just like sad stuff being canceled. So then they just said, hey, instead of the show an hour a day, we're just going to do 3 minute updates. And it was all in the prompter. So I'd be like, hello, I'm Janie Johnson. Thank you for watching Western Sports Roundup. This rodeo is canceled. Quote from the commissioner. We are very sad to, it was just, and then I'd mess it up because I can't read off a teleprompter.
Are you like dyslexic or something?
No, I think I'm a decent reader. I'm a great talk all the time, but the prompter is the death of me. Ask anybody at Cowboy Channel. They're like, if it needs to be on prompter, Janie cannot do it.
Who's really good at the teleprompter?
Everyone but me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do it either. I'd even try.
That was the only time we ever used it, was those 3 minute updates, because they had to be like perfectly timed for 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So
I have similar issues when we read advertisements. I end up making them up half the time.
And
right.
Go on for like 2-3 minutes maybe.
I know.
Yeah.
It's what is that saying? It's under promise, over deliver.
Yeah.
You get 1 minute, but here's 4. Whoops, it's not very efficient.
And it's not easy to edit video like that in a choppy fashion.
Yeah. But it's more genuine.
Maybe.
Whenever you're just off the cuff. Like if you're talking about a product or honestly anything, that's why people get sick of the news, is because it's just so prompted, so scripted.
Yeah, it is. And we really like real political news. It's like they knew this was happening yesterday. This is weird.
I can't script anything. Like it just doesn't work for me.
Yeah. What made you want to go into TV, I guess we'll call it?
Yeah, it's a version of TV. Yeah.
It's on TV.
It is. It plays on a screen for people to watch. That's a great question. I actually get that question a lot. I went to school in Austin to be a production major. Like I wanted to be a film producer. Like that was my dream goal. I was obsessed with movies. So I was a TV film production major in college. And then life just kind of happened, and it came time, like, if you wanted to do film at the time, you needed to move to California, because that's where the film industry is.
Right smack in the middle of California,
Yeah, and it's actually kind of moving down to Austin a little bit. I, worked in film production. I worked for directors. I'm actually in a Netflix film, fun fact.
Really? Which one?
It's called Results. Don't look it up. It's a very interesting film. But anyway.
What's it about?
Well, this is off the changing subject here, but it's about like a really kind of lame, middle-aged, overweight man who comes into millions of dollars and doesn't know what to do with all this money, and so he hires a personal trainer and then develops this weird friendship with the personal trainer. And anyways, at the end of the film,
is that a Kevin Hart movie?
It had Guy Pearce in it.
Yes, have you seen it?
No, I'm looking at IMDb page
right
now.
Yeah, it had Guy Pearce in it and Colby Schmulders from How I Met Your Mother. But I was in the film because my directing professor in college, he wrote and directed that film, and he needed someone with a classic sorority girl look, and that was me.
Similar outfit?
Yeah, I was in that class, and it was all hipsters and, super hipster people, and I was the most basic looking person in the
most
class.
basic white girl in the room.
Literally, that's basically what he told me. My character's name was Chantel.
Oh.
I had like 2 lines.
That's
that
not
got,
a bad name.
Yeah, don't I look like a Chantel?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you wrote the script, so you obviously wrote the script for me.
That's
My
impressive.
lines got cut, but I did get paid.
That's good.
But
So you were in it, but not in it.
I was more in it just to get experience being around like real film sets and stuff, and I really didn't like it actually.
Really?
No, it's
You're worried you're going to get caught in a room with a Weinstein type character?
no, gosh, nothing like that. But it was like you'll spend in the film industry, you'll spend like a week shooting a 3-minute scene over and over and over and over. It's just actually very boring.
Sounds awful.
Yeah, like, you have a scene and it's just really pretty basic. And every film director, every film person's different, but it's just you'll spend a whole day, 2 whole days shooting one scene, and then and everything has to be perfectly done. And anyways, it was just kind of too boring. And then I had to interview somebody that I was interested in a job role that I was interested in, and that was my dad knew Jeff Metters. And I got his phone number, and I did do like a phone interview with him. And he was like, oh, hey, well, if you ever want to come by the production office in Tulsa, Oklahoma, like, come on by. And I did. I went by.
Yeah.
I drove to Tulsa, Oklahoma, went in, met with him, and he was like, oh, I didn't actually expect you to show up. Well, you can come to the NFR and intern or kind of job shadow if you want.
Yeah.
And I was like, absolutely. So called him right before NFR, called him, never called me back. Showed up at NFR, just found the production truck and was like, knocked on the door. I was like, hey, you remember when you told me I could intern? He's like, oh, yeah, okay, somebody get this girl a credential. And I just followed everybody around and got Butch Knowles' time to vent draws and his coffee and hung out for like a whole NFR. And then got hired to produce the NFR as an associate producer the next year because the gal that I shadowed, she went into a different job role. And so I did some producing. But my real crack out moment was junior high finals with Splash Day.
Really?
Yeah.
Do tell.
We were at junior high finals, and Jeff was like, hey, have you ever thought about being on camera? And I was like, no, I really kind of wanted to be a producer. But, like, maybe, like, I could give it a go. Like, it could be kind of fun. And he needed someone for junior high finals, so I went out there. Tried to interview these 12-year-old kids, and it was really hard because they're 12-year-old rodeo kids.
Yeah, because there's 12-year-old kids, but then there's rodeo kids.
Yeah, and so I'd be like, how was your run? Like really basic sideline kind of stuff. It was terrible. And me and my camera guy, my editor, who are amazing, we were like, this is so rough. And these kids are having a blast. Like, they're doing all those activities. I don't know if you've ever been to junior high or high school nationals. It's like, it's a crazy fest.
Yes,
Just
it is.
stuff and activities. So they were having a splash day. And I like went and bought some shorts and a t-shirt and some floaties and just showed up and did like this feature with all the kids, and it was super fun. We went down the water slide and made like this like montage of like, are you looking this up right now?
I'm not, but I should be.
And
I'm having a hard time with this. This sounds horrifying.
it was so funny. It was just like literally me going out there and being and acting like an idiot and just trying to like showcase how fun the stuff is.
Yeah.
Anyways, a lot of people watched it on the social media stuff, and so
Yeah.
then we went and did another one about ribbon roping, and these kids were just so funny whenever it was just like off the cuff, like chasing them down and asking them random stuff and editing it together, that the videos kind of went viral on Facebook through like junior high rodeo. And then that was like the most fun I've ever had in my life, I think,
Really?
in terms of TV. Yeah.
Yeah, so this story went different. I thought you were going to say it was awful.
No,
But it's actually fun. That's really interesting.
Well, I'm kind of a cheesy person. I had a blast. These kids are hilarious. Like, I really did think it was really fun and didn't expect that. And just to be able to go and make funny videos and, like, really showcase personalities that you don't see that in rodeo very often. And so I just had a blast with it. And that was kind of when I was like, okay, I could do this on camera thing. Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then just kind of picked up jobs from there because of those videos. I feel like.
I was going to say, the best on-camera people are always the ones that didn't want to be on camera.
Yeah, and it wasn't like that I like didn't want to do it. It was just something that like I never thought was going to be a thing for me.
Yeah, I guess there's not a whole lot of opportunity in this industry to really
No.
flourish in it.
Well,
I mean,
think
it's
about
getting
yourself.
better, but
Think about yourself. Like, when you think about yourself 10 years ago, where you're like, one day I want to host a podcast show. That is my goal.
I always wanted a podcast.
Well,
Ever since I was in high school, and I saw Joe
I was
Rogan.
like, okay, well, never mind.
Very
Yeah, I know.
little thing 10 years ago.
Yeah, so you're the wrong person to ask, but yeah, I was planning this for a long time.
10 years ago?
Not this specifically, but I was enamored with, like, when I discovered a podcast, Joe Rogan, like 10 plus years ago, right after I got out of high school.
One of the original podcasts.
Yeah, right when he started doing it, and like just the ability he had to literally have a conversation, like a meaningful conversation where you could get more intelligent with anybody from any walk of life.
Yeah.
And I found that to be very interesting.
Yeah, it is.
That's kind of why this is all the way it is. I kind of mapped it off of that just a little bit, but I've always found our industry to be kind of dry, right? On the outside. On the inside, it's freaking great. Like, the people are amazing. All my favorite people are in this industry, but you don't know any of that on the outside. There's like this weird exterior that I've always found to be odd, that people just aren't able to be themselves because there's not a place or time outside of the trailer, or when you're not rodeoing and you're doing something that is not just beating the pavement.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked. And so I was like, that's what we need to do. And then I was too scared to do it for 2 years because I thought people wouldn't like it. And then just did it.
Well, the podcast atmosphere is, you've been to the Cowboy Channel studios. Like, it's just like set up for people to be uncomfortable at first, because you're on camera and it's like spotlight. You feel like you're on a stage and everybody's watching you.
Yeah.
Podcast is so easy just to talk and be yourself and do whatever you want, because...
Especially when the first stop when you walk in the door is a bar.
Yeah, I'm sure that helps as well.
It does. That's
Yeah.
strategic.
And you're a casual guy, so people feel they can be casual. I don't know.
Casual.
That's like one of the things that I would like Cowboy Channel to be able to breach into a little bit more.
Really?
And we got to do that a little bit with the Tailgate show, when you like play games and like bring people up there and like get to know their personalities. But that's only twice a year, you know? And
Yeah.
other than that, like that's something I've kind of struggled with in Sideline a little bit, like being a Sideline person. There's just no possible way. And maybe there is. You can get a little bit more, but there's no possible way to get to know somebody in a Sideline interview.
Not on TV.
No, it's just you get 2 questions.
But if you're not
Maybe
regulated and you producing your own content, like, I mean, I did not Sideline, but right after your Sideline at the
Yeah.
NFR all 10 nights.
Yeah, like I sit
But
down.
you got to be able to be like, here's a beer. Let's talk about this real quick.
Yeah.
And it changes the whole dynamic. You know, you drop a couple of, that was some good shit or something like that, and it just changes the way people react.
I've actually had some people say shit on TV before.
Do you guys cut it or you leave it? I mean,
No,
you're
'cause
your own
it's-
network, so who cares, right?
No, it's live.
Yeah.
Chase Brooks said shit the other day, and it was pretty awesome.
That is awesome.
It was Guyman, Oklahoma. No, this wasn't the other day. This would have been last August. But yeah, he said, like, I've been riding like shit lately. And then he was like, oh gosh, was that terrible? I'm like, I thought it was kind of cool.
See, that's
and-
what I like. Like, I like the real personalities of everybody.
Ben Anderson at San Antonio. So, like, a lot of the rough stock guys are, like, personal friends of mine. They stay at my house because Jake, he's a saddle bronc rider. So, like, you know, they drink beer and hang out at my house before they go to the rodeo. So then we get to the rodeo, and they're, like, very comfortable with me because we're friends. Ben Anderson at San Antonio had just left my house and gone to San Antonio, and then he, like, leans up against the fence, and it's just like, shit, I've been having a great time. I'm just having fun. And I was like, okay, Ben, that was very that was almost too casual for TV. He's like, I know, but like we're friends. I'm like,
Yeah, people loved it though. Look at Wade Sundell when he just
yeah.
the stuff that he pulled, like that brought people into rodeo
yeah.
like crazy. Just his devil may care attitude towards everything. Like it
I
was
love Wade Sundell.
Yeah, like some of the best rodeo just TV sound bites come from stuff like that.
Right.
Because everybody does the same thing, right? Because that's what they expect to do, and that's just the way the industry is. And when you see people go at it in a different way, I just think it's super refreshing.
For me, I feel like I've got that with all the rough stock guys and a lot of the barrel racers, but I haven't quite been able to develop that rapport with tie-down ropers and team ropers because I'm not in that world as much.
Yeah.
And I would like to, because when you become friends with people, then they're more comfortable.
Yeah.
It's like for you, your guests that come on the show, a lot of them you know, and they're comfortable just chatting with you about whatever. And so.
Yeah, but even if I don't, like there's just,
Yeah.
you just got to figure it out. It's all about the approach and pulling barriers down, I feel like.
My thing is, like, if we had a show with them, it'd
Different
be
story.
great. 2 questions, you're just not going to get it out
No.
unless they're your friends.
No, and that's always been my point on why I wanted to do this show.
Yeah.
Like, no offense to the people who have to do that. That's sideline reporting, but I always use that as the example of
Dude, there's a
why
role
this
for
works.
There's a role for everything, for sure.
Yeah, and you have to, right? You have to be able to cover the event in a quick, strategic way and move on to do the next thing the same way.
Right.
It's got to be the same.
Well, in Sideline, like, it can get tedious if nothing exciting happens. But, like, if something crazy happens and you want to be like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example. If you just ride this super rank horse and it was just, like, the craziest ride and you made this big recovery or something wild, then it's exciting to ask immediately, fresh off the gate, what happened out there. Versus if you're, like, 80 points and just made a solid ride and you're sitting third, but you're winning that perf technically. You're like, yay.
Yeah.
You did average.
You're like, oh, well, that was an average ride. How do you feel that you're still leading the pack being average?
It's really awkward because, so, like, when we televise performances, we do every perf and we have to interview whoever did the best in that performance.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, Slack was 2 days before, and, like I'll have to interview guys that are, like, sitting 12th. But, like, solid run, you know, it's important to be consistent. Yeah, and they're like, yeah, we're 12th. Probably not going to get a check. And that's awkward.
Yeah. Wonder what else you could ask them to try to, like...
Yeah, I mean,
Are
yeah.
you going to go to Whataburger after this? I don't know.
You definitely, like, try to keep it more general, like, about how their horses are doing or, like, where they're going next, or
Yeah.
you don't really try to dwell too much on the run.
Yeah,
You're
it's
like,
tough.
just a
Because half the
solid-
time, if that's how it is, they don't really want to talk to you anyway. They just want to move on.
No, and then they have, like, a committee person, like, shuffling over them to me, and it's just like,
Yeah.
But, or if, like, something relevant happened before that event. But, yeah, that is the hard part about it not being, like, round by round.
Yeah. What has been your opinion of the Cowboy Channel as a whole, though? I mean, obviously, you're very deeply involved in it, but as far as its approach to televising every rodeo and kind of the way that it's attacked the rodeo market, if you want to call it that, I mean, it's been pretty interesting to see.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if a lot of people would have thought that, like, rodeo could be covered that well by a small network.
Right. Attacked is a good word because we just, like, I mean, I say we, it's not me, I'm just, like, a little person on the ship, but they just full on dove headfirst into it. Sometimes I wish that we had more time to put into bigger events, you know? But at the same time, you get emails and comments from people going both directions. Some people want rodeo every single night of the week. They don't care if it's kind of like a streaming quality. Versus other people want us to be kind of like NFL and focus in on, like, the big game and do a full broadcast of it, pre-show, post-show.
Yeah.
Don't show as much. And it's that fine line of, like, okay, would you rather be able to watch all the rodeos at lower quality, or do you want to watch less rodeos at better quality? And I think it's 50-50. I really don't know.
Yeah.
Because for me, like, if I know somebody that's up at this rodeo, like, I don't really care what it looks like. I want to see them make that run.
Yep.
But at the same time, I wish that we had more time and resources to be, like, full TV truck, full event. But it's hard. It's hard to please everybody on that. It's a lot. We've covered so many events with not that many resources, so it's pretty impressive that they've been able to do what they've done. But I think it's going to grow. I think this year kind of feels like the startup year, or 2020 felt like startup year. What a weird year.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was really impressive. I think kind of like the pinnacle moment for the Cowboy Channel, at least as me, like a viewer, and I actually utilized it for my own stuff during the NFR, but the NFR was badass.
The NFR was amazing.
The first night was a little slippery, but that got fixed so fast. Like, you guys, whomever, whatever the issue was where the app wasn't working or whatever was going on, like, it was corrected so fast. The next day, it was like a huge turnaround. Like, that was the most impressive thing I saw from a small group of people producing on a scale like that.
I actually heard that our app got hacked.
Really?
By an outside party. But, okay, we'll say, I'm going to give a shout out to, like, the Geronimo Productions crew on the NFR. So my first year to intern at the NFR, my first year to work the NFR was 2015. So this was my 6th NFR. No. Is that right? Can I do math? Yeah. Anyways.
I cannot.
Yeah.
Don't ask me. Ask Ty. He's very
I think
smart.
it was 2014 or 2015. And that same crew that has done NFR, that did NFR at Globe Life Field this year, is the same crew that's done NFR for like 20 years. Jeff Metters brings a lot of those guys together, and I think that was the big reason why Cowboy Channel brought Jeff Metters on, was because he has done NFR, I think this would be his 30th year.
Yeah.
Him and Butch Knowles have done talent for 29 years. I did not positive on that. Need to double check that. But an insane amount of time. So it's like a seamless production. Everybody gets there. Everybody knows exactly what they're doing. This year, it was no different. Patrick said, Jeff, bring in all your people that have done it for CBS, because they did it for GAC, they did it for Fox Sports, they did it for CBS Sports. I think it was on ESPN one year. Like, it's always been the same crew, just a different network.
Right.
And so it was all the same.
That's good information, because I bet a lot of people don't know that.
No, and it was the Cowboy Channel's network, but it's still the same crew, like cameramen. I mean, there's guys like Tom Stone is like one of the main Geronimo guys. He works in NFL, he works in NBA, like all the top stuff. He hires the crew, he brings everybody together, he handles the equipment. And the crew that did NFR, they do professional sports throughout the year for other people. And I think they brought a lot of those same people back for the American this year. But Matt Schultz, who is now our executive producer at Cowboy Channel, he has been the producer for NFR, I think 15 or 16 years. And that's how he got the Cowboy Channel job.
Yeah.
And then, Jeff and Butch and all the talent and stuff, they're all fantastic. So it was a seamless transition. The only hiccup was a new building they hadn't been in. They've been in Thomas and Mack for
right. Yeah,
a
total
long
different
time.
setup. I don't know. It was fun, though, and cool.
Yeah, no, they knocked it out of
the coverage was awesome.
They knocked it out of the park, and the numbers, so many people watched it on Cowboy Channel. Our numbers exceeded that of CBS Sports for NFR. I can't take any credit for any of that. That's all.
You know what? You freaking killed it, though, when you started doing the barrels. Like,
Thank you.
I don't know what date it was you started. You didn't start doing it immediately. They brought you in. I know. There's a little backstory to that.
This is the craziest story. At least it was for me. Maybe this is normal. I was supposed to do Tailgate show, which was like 3-hour show, then interviews for Western Sports Roundup. That was my plan. I got a text at 4 p.m. at round 4. I was in the middle of the live Tailgate show, and it was like, hey, be on standby for the barrels tonight. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, standby for what with the barrels? And like, to talk barrels, but just, we might not need you, but be on standby. And I like hustled from Tailgate to get to Globe Life for Western Sports Roundup interviews. And during that like 30-minute drive, I like panicked and called Tassie Monroe and Ivy, your sister. And just in case you didn't remember that was your sister.
Yeah, those are both my sisters, basically.
And I just called Ivy, because like I obviously follow the barrel race all year long, but by round 4, I mean, there were some horse changes left and right. Like, I didn't know who was going to ride what horse ahead of time at that point, because I feel like at Globe Life we saw more horse changes than we ever see in terms of NFR. And I called Ivy and I was like, who do I call? Like, how do I find out for sure who's going to be on what horse? Because I know a lot of girls are changing. And she helped me so much. I don't know if it was like, we talked about way more information than what I ever could have used for it, but she talked about, like, you're going to be fine. Like, you barrel race. Like, just go up there and talk about barrel racing. And I was like, okay, you're right. But I'm like, I might not even do it. I'm just on standby.
Huh.
So I go up there, and I'm like, I go over where Joe B is, and he's about to do the tie down. And I go, hey, Joe, like, am I supposed to do the barrels tonight? And he's like, I have no idea. Nobody told me anything. So I, like, text the producer, like, during the live NFR in tie-down roping. I'm like, am I doing barrels next? And he was like, oh, yeah. Are you there? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, okay, yeah, get mic'd up. So, yeah.
So it's not just us who just does stuff by the cuff. That's nice to hear.
I don't know if I'm supposed to tell that story, but I was like, okay. And then, I didn't know if I was doing it the next day. I texted him, like, the next afternoon. I'm like, am I doing barrels? He's like, oh, yeah, we'll put you on barrels for another day. Like, it was, like, each day.
Yeah, we talked about it quite a bit. Like, we were all really impressed at how well you did. Like, it was really impressive.
It was really, really fun. I'm such a huge barrel racing fan. Like, I light up talking about barrel racing from a fan perspective. And I know all those amazing women. And, like, barrel racing is such a tough, tough sport. And I just felt like, I don't know how you, like, can portray that in, like, the 20 seconds you have for each run, but, like, to be there, to be at the NFR, to handle that setup, to make a horse change, like, making the NFR and the barrel racing is like one of the hardest things ever to even qualify, and then to be there and to deal with all the variables, and the ground changed so much every night. Like I just love the barrel race so much. It was really exciting. I did mess up once though. I did mess up Tiani Schuster's horse one day because I thought she was going to be on one of her colts.
Well, I mean, she changed horses like every day. So
I
it
know.
made it tough.
And like I introduced her, like she's on this colt and she's going to run it. And then like as she like ran across, I was like, oh gosh, that's Showman's. I didn't even... Because I can't watch it in real life. I have to watch it on the little teeny little screen.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both big sorrels, but I know what Showman's looks like, and then I couldn't save it, and I just feel like such an idiot. I texted her. I was like, hey, sorry I messed up your horse. And she's like, oh, it's okay. Now everybody like thinks that other colt like did amazing.
Yeah, well, when you have horse depth like Tiani, it probably doesn't hurt.
Right, yeah. There were a lot of horse changes.
That was crazy.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, as far as barrel racing goes, yeah, it was like someone was on a different horse every night. I don't think there was
Yeah.
a single night where it was the same 15 horses.
I think the only barrel racer that didn't make a horse change was Jill Wilson and Blue Dean.
Yeah.
That was the only barrel racer that rode the same horse.
Yep.
I mean, it would have been Haley if she wouldn't have gotten on Leroy that one round, but Jill Wilson. One of the coolest things, though, I never, ever expected her to break her standard pattern record. I don't know why. She had the standard pattern record from Dodge City, and I remember saying, like, I think they're going to get close to it. So for my, like, I do a little stand-up at the beginning. I was like, Haley Kinsel set her standard pattern record in Dodge City this last summer, and it's pretty cool. Like, times are getting faster. I think they're going to get close. And then, like, that night, within, like, 4 horses, she broke it again. And I was like, man, I couldn't time. That was just lucky.
Yeah.
I had no idea that me talking about the standard pattern record, and that would be the night that she would break it.
At this point, you just have to assume that mare is going to do
Yeah, right?
literally everything.
By round 8, I think, or not even round 8, I think it was like round 6, I literally opened the barrel race with, welcome to the Haley Kinsel show.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is at this point.
Literally.
She's amazing. That horse is amazing, but she's also just
Oh, yeah. I mean,
such
it's
a
bulls,
jockey,
for sure.
such a talented...
It's amazing how well she stays out of the horse's way. Like, better than a lot of people. It's impressive.
It's true. And, like, the biggest thing about barrel racing, and you see this with Haley, Ivy, Emily, everybody, any barrel racer that makes the NFR, the full-time job isn't so much, like, keeping them in shape or running barrels. It's, like, keeping them feeling good and keeping them sound so they can clock.
Yeah, I don't think people who haven't rodeoed or who take care of high-level horses really understand how hard it is, like, putting a horse in a trailer for a full year and going down the road.
No, I mean, so many things and so much money spent on products and, like, icing their legs and then getting them warmed up right. Like, it's a system. And the fact that Sister has stayed so sound for so long.
Well, and the mare's just,
yeah.
tough beyond belief. I mean, because it
Yeah,
takes
that too. But I also think, like, of course, you have to have, like, the foundation for a sound horse and all that. But so much goes into it. Like, would love to just, like, follow Haley around for a year and see what all she does to keep that horse feeling good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
it's extensive.
A lot.
Yeah.
And diligent about everything.
But all of them are that way. Sometimes it's just bad luck. Like, you can try your hardest and work night and day to keep a horse feeling sound, and a horse will still not make it because it's so tough to go down the road for a year.
Yeah.
Or a lot of horses, you see them, barrel racers, there's always a new barrel racer in the top 15 almost every year because a lot of these horses don't make it past a year or two.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's true. And there's not a huge pool of horses to pull from.
No.
Either.
Or you have, like, multiple and just kind of like a Brittany Posey or a Cheyenne Wimberly. They have multiple horses and they can't maybe ask one of them to go to every rodeo. They kind of have to go between them to keep them all feeling their best.
Yeah. Did you rodeo growing up, like, extensively and all that?
Yeah. Probably junior high was when I really started rodeoing. Like goat tied, barrel race, pole bending. Never roped. I'm not much of a roper.
Really?
No, a lot of people are like, how come you don't do the breakaway? I'm like, I would embarrass myself.
Yeah, breakaways is so tough.
I have so much respect for
so
breakaway
new.
ropers, but it'd be kind of like the barrel racers, I think, didn't mind me talking about the barrel race. I'm not a phenomenal barrel racer by any means, but at least, like, I know about it. Like, the breakaway ropers, if I commentated the breakaway, would be like, get this girl out of here.
That's funny.
Because I don't know that much about it. But yeah, I grew up on a cattle ranch. My family raised Angus cattle up in Canyon, Texas.
Yeah.
So I've kind of been around it my whole life, but like really started appreciating it more in like high school and stuff. As a kid, I did like musical theater and acting and like all this random
You're a
stuff.
thespian.
Yeah, I just kind of was an outgoing crazy kid. I was like class president because I like played my ukulele in front of the whole class for my speech. You know, it just always did kind of like crazy, wild things
Really?
that weren't always real. My life wasn't real rodeo revolved. Like it was a part of my life, but it wasn't like the center of my life like it is now.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it was for me. It was forced to be like our centers. And
Yeah.
I tried to get away from it for a long time because I didn't like the environment that we were in.
Yeah.
But I get it. Yeah. Because you were like, I'm going to go be an actress. I'm going to go do all that. And then you kind of came full circle and came back to
Yeah.
the Western world.
I played like random sports. Like I played tennis. I was a pole vaulter
Really?
in high school. Yeah, I was a pole vaulter. Just random things. Because I just had interests everywhere and I just kind of wanted to have fun. And like I rodeoed and went to rodeos and ran barrels, but it wasn't like my life at the time. Now it's like all consuming.
Yeah.
Like literally I don't know what else there is. Because
Yeah.
I talk about it for a living and then I have horses and boyfriend rodeos. So
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
my parents.
Dating a saddle bronc rider.
Yeah, he's actually been on the show.
Jake, I like Jake a lot.
I don't know why I looked over at the chair for that. It was
You
like,
just happened to realize that was the chair that Jake
that's
was
where
in?
that is where he sat.
Yeah. Speaking of Jake, is that how you kind of got Jake? Did you do the whole like
Eye contact.
eye contact thing and you just stayed on him to the point where he was just new? It's like, she will never, ever, ever stop looking at me. What was he, what did he think? What was the thing that he thought you were staring at? Well, hopefully it wasn't his hair because that would be a terrible
His hair
stereotype.
is beautiful. He has beautiful head of hair. His red. He's the most unique person you'll ever meet. He's an Australian and like a flaming redhead. So I love that combination. He's super funny.
Super funny.
My whole life with Jake is just like on edge at all times because he's constantly like pranking me or just joking, and you just never know what's gonna happen next. But we actually met at the Big Texan. You know, the 72-ounce steak in Amarillo. You've driven by it. You're from Colorado. You go through Amarillo.
Yeah, I hate Amarillo. But
Yeah.
yeah, I know the sign.
You know the huge 72-ounce steak, like
I've
cheesy
never ever
tourist
stopped
place.
there.
Wow, you're really missing out.
Is it really that great?
No, it's actually pretty terrible.
It sounds awful. Because what cut of meat could that possibly be? It's like a hip.
Yeah, it's
Like a
huge.
whole hip.
It's
Sounds
huge.
disgusting.
Yeah, it's pretty huge.
So you just randomly met there, or you met there to meet up?
No, we've always had mutual. You know how rodeo is. Everybody's connected in some
Yeah.
way or another.
Not
And
enough people. That's why.
right, so I just met him through some people. Jake Watson, the other little Canadian saddle bronc rider, was keeping a horse at my house to go to a vet or something, and they were rodeoing together.
Yeah.
And they're like, we want to go to the Big Texan. So
And you're like, let's go.
yeah, and then just from there, you know,
Yeah.
so life goes.
So they say.
And you just never left.
No, just stayed in Weatherford with you, or wherever you were at that time.
Yeah, he's all over. He doesn't really live anywhere. He's like in Amarillo, Canyon, the Camper, Weatherford.
Yeah.
Like a rodeo person. They're kind of like carny people.
They 100% are.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, that's how I explain, like, if I'm talking to non-rodeo people, because I have a lot of non-rodeo friends, actually. It's about 50-50. Like, really close friends. A lot of mine are non-rodeo people from my other business and stuff. And that's how I explain it. I was like, yeah, so you know the old stereotypes about carnies? It's like that, but cowboy hats.
It's like that, but it's classier a little bit, you know?
Oh, it's classy.
They
Yeah,
do shower a
people
little
don't
bit.
realize that.
They have showers in their rigs, you
Yeah,
know?
Capri campers have pretty decent-sized showers.
Yeah, the Capri's where it's at. I actually slept in a Capri camper at a barrel race during Odessa. Yeah, and I like had my bumper pull in the Capri camper because I'm trying to sell my living quarters, and I was like, this is when you know.
Shouldn't be hard to sell one right now. You can't get a new one.
I know, that's right. I'm hoping, but I was like, this is when you know you're really rodeoing, when you're sleeping in a Capri camper pulling a bumper pull trailer.
Yeah?
I was like, yeah, here
Probably like one of like 4 people to do that in the entire year.
I only did it for one weekend. It wasn't like I'm committing to
Does
this.
that Capri have the toilet shower combo?
No, this one didn't have a toilet, which was, not that great. But yeah, it was for 2 days. And it was also during that ice storm, so it was actually quite awful. But
Yeah.
a weekend was about all I could make it there.
I prefer not to use the toilet in the living quarters anyway, because then you always have to dump the black tank. Which is the worst.
Yeah. I was just thinking coming out of my Capri camper, I'm like, no one recognizes me like at rodeos.
Really?
From Cowboy Channel. Well, they do, but they don't place it because when I'm on Cowboy Channel, I have like a whole bunch of makeup on, my hair is done. I like put a lot of, it's a look. It's a whole vibe.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, you're on TV. You got to look nice. You like to, look.
You got to look the part, Westerny.
I like to look professional. I do not look like that when I'm not at work because I have to do it so much for work. I look borderline homeless when I go to rodeos. Like I went to Nacogdoches for the barrel race last night. I ran there last night, and people are like, kind of look at me like, I really can't place your face. I'm like, I know, it's the Cowboy Channel. And sometimes rodeo people, I'm actually shocked by this. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm on the Cowboy Channel, haha. And they'll be like, what's that? And I'll be like, oh, well, now I feel like an idiot.
You're like, I'm on the Cowboy Channel.
It's not important. It's not important. Some people actually still don't know what it is, which is
really?
Like, yeah.
That's not even possible.
I don't know. That happened at San Angelo whenever I was there. Not San Angelo, Midland.
You didn't wonder what all the cameras were for?
And some people are like, they're like, I really can't place your face. I'm like, oh, I'm on the Cowboy Channel. They're like, no, that's not it. I'm like, they're like, I don't watch that. I'm like, well, then I have no idea. I have a general face that looks like a lot of people.
Yeah. Maybe you just look like the last person who stared at me uncomfortably for too long.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, so if you're looking at your life, right, you wanted to do the act. Ooh.
It's deep.
It is. We try to get intro. At least deep one time.
Let's do it.
Yeah. But if you're looking at your life, right, it's like you did this, you did that, you wanted to be in Hollywood, then you didn't want to be in Hollywood. Now you're doing basically news for the sport of rodeo. I mean, is it your ideal world? Is that like really what you want to do? I always wonder that if someone who's doing work like that, because it's very demanding, it's almost just as demanding as rodeo. This is far more casual than what you do. You bust your ass. But
I rodeo just as much as the rodeo people rodeo.
Exactly.
I was we did, let's see, I went Rapid City for 2 weeks and then San Antonio for another 2 weeks and then the American. Then I went to Florida, then Montgomery, Alabama. Like it just never...
Arcadia Rodeo was pretty cool, though.
Oh, I loved Arcadia Rodeo. I love those Florida rodeos. I'd never been before.
Really?
Huge fan.
Dude, those committees,
they're awesome.
are the best.
They're super fun. They cook out for everybody. Yeah, no. That's a really good question because, like, I've, have a lot of time for, like, self-reflection to think about.
Yeah.
Is this exactly where I want to be? And, like, it is. I love my job. I love talking to these contestants and showcasing these stories. There's so much more that wants to get out there. There's just not enough time in the day nor the resources to get everything out that we want to get out. But I almost look at my life like in phases, if that makes sense. Like, I love what I'm doing for this phase of my life.
Yeah.
This isn't like, and I think a lot of on-camera talent people feel this way. Like, they know that it's like a window. Especially, like, as a woman, like, you don't really see women be on camera past a certain age, which is, I hope that changes, because I think culturally, like, it should change, but then I don't know if I would have the energy to be...
Like Pam Minnick, she's just bubbly all the time.
Right, but Pam is amazing. She's, like, one of my heroes. I just love her. But even her, like, she kind of stepped back. Like, she's not hosting a daily show every single day.
Yeah. She
does camera stuff here and there and TV stuff because she's so amazing at it, and she should. But she's got her whole other life. Like, I feel like she had her TV phase, and then she wanted to focus in on something else. Like, she's really involved with Billy Bob's, obviously, and the stockyards. And Pam, like, has lots of different things going. And for me, I don't know exactly. Like, I never thought this job was ever going to exist in the first place growing up. I mean, because it just didn't. You have NFR, maybe cover a few rodeos for CBS Sports throughout the year, but it's not a full-time job. Now it's, like, full-time plus.
Right.
It's like not full-time, it's more than full-time. But like my love for it, and I think I had this week off where I could just really ride my horses and like go to jackpots, and it was really good for me to remind me like why I love my job, because you start to forget after a while just watching other people compete and talking about other people's competition. And like it really all comes back to like the horses for me and like the way of life and the ranching and the people. It's all connected. It's
weird how when you make some decisions that pull you away from the simple stuff, right, that it affects you in a negative way.
Right. Like, I don't want to feel like I'm living a lie of talking about ranching and rodeo and competing all the time, but, like, that you get distanced from it whenever you don't, like, have time to go back to it, if that makes sense. Like,
no, I get that 100%. Yeah, you feel like you have imposter syndrome because, like, if you're not rodeoing.
Right. I start to feel, because I drive through downtown Fort Worth every day, and I'm at the middle of town in the city all day. And like you start to feel like a city kid again, and you're like, I'm not a city kid. Like I wanted to have this job because I love the lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so like this week off was so good for me because I got to be like, okay, it's about like the love of horses and the struggle and how difficult it is to succeed in this sport and just that whole concept. So that was good for me. But I do think like eventually I'll probably move back to Canyon, and I love raising cows and riding horses and ranching. It's a whole different ball game. It's really difficult. It's way more work than even talking on TV.
Yeah.
But it's like the simpler life.
It's a lot of work.
It's a simpler life that I grew up with that I feel like if I'd ever decide to have a family, I want my family to grow up that way. And then who knows? They can go on and decide if they want to move to the big city and do a big city job. But like this is the perfect phase right now.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it does. I get it. But the whole like imposter syndrome thing is something I struggle with, so I get that a lot.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, I don't know, the phases deal. I don't know that like my dream has ever been like a job necessarily, or like a goal even. Like you can have a job and you can have a goal and you can achieve that and it's satisfying, but it's like overall like a state of being and being happy and liking your life and liking the people that it's in your life and your family and all that. So
people get too hung up on destinations. That's the problem.
yeah, it's a state of being that is the goal, like my dream, if you will.
Yeah.
Feeling satisfied, like, and it comes in like highs, like with TV. I get affected by it. Like if I have a bad show, like I feel down for like that week. Like I'll be sad.
Yeah.
Or if I have like a great show, I'm like, you can't get on top of the world anymore. And it's weird. It's very up and down.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. And that's a good way to put it too. But I mean, I think you're one of the better people who does it. I mean, not that there's a ton of people out there, but I feel like if it's going to continue to grow and excel, at least watching like you do it, and, you know, like even talking to my sister or any of our mutual friends, like Janie does a really good job, like a really good job. And I was super impressed as someone who I do a lot of YouTube videos that aren't even for this, other production YouTube videos for a different thing.
Yeah.
And like that was really impressive. As someone who prides himself on being able to come up with anything off the cuff for hours on end, I was like, dang, here's another person who kicks ass. And I was impressed by that.
Oh.
So I think you are doing a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. My best shows that I do have sometimes, I'm always with my camera guys are not rodeo people at all. I always have one cameraman, and they've gotten to be like some of my greater friends in life. They make fun of me because when I watch the rodeo, like I get hyped. I start dancing. I get real hyped about what's happening, and like I can't wait for that contestant to come from the arena and like get up there for their interview. Like I'm so excited to like talk to them, and
Yeah,
that's when I have my good shows.
Though.
Like
Yeah,
that's when the shows are good, is when I'm like, and I'll be like talking to Brian or Joel, they're my two camera guys that kind of rotate, and I'll be like, did you just see that? That was amazing. I'm like, no, but this is why it's amazing, because this person just had this injury and then he's bucked off the last 6 horses and then now he just did this and that horse hasn't, you know, and they're just like, Janie, you need to calm down.
No, but I think, and I've talked to other people about this, like when talking about some of the other people who do it, and that's always the thing that like I've said as someone who's critical of the way people talk. It's one of my worst qualities. Like, oh, they don't talk good. They don't speak good. Like, but that's what you have to have. You actually have to be genuinely excited for what that person just did, even though it has nothing to do with you.
Right.
Which is hard for people.
Well, and I don't know if it's like from watching so much competition, but when you're in a slump in rodeo, or whenever things aren't going well, or when they have never gone well, because there's a lot of people that compete that have honestly never had that success, and then they win Montgomery, Alabama, or Arcadia, Florida. Like, to an outsider, that seems like a really minor thing, but to them, that's like a life-changing, because they are finally turning things around, or they're finally getting a bit of success to know that they can compete with the best people in the world, or they got a new horse and like they have this new opportunity. Like, it's a big deal, even though it's a small rodeo, if that makes sense.
Well, no, it does. And if you were like fed as a child off of this stuff, you really get it.
Yeah.
Like, no, when I say fed, I mean literally fed. Like
Yeah.
it makes a huge difference in the way you look at things, or if you've done it yourself or seen your family do it and you've seen the struggle, the fail, and what it actually takes. Like the things that those people are sacrificing, I really admire it, because I am not willing to sacrifice those things.
Right. That's so much. It's so much of what it is. It's not.
So it's
rodeo
the
is
sacrifice
so
that's just
not
amazing.
glamorous.
No, it
just
isn't.
not. It's just not. It seems that way at NFR, but it's just.
Yeah, it's a big number on a screen, and they do that to catch people's attention, but it costs way more to do it. I mean, I've said that a million times on this show, on every show.
Yeah, my dad actually said that the other day because he was like saying the people that have fun usually win the most.
Yeah.
And he's like, because if you're not having fun rodeoing, then you probably shouldn't rodeo because it's not exactly a good business strategy.
No, it isn't.
It's
This is the very first thing I noticed when I like watching Ivy do it, because I had walked away a few times myself.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I saw Ivy getting success, I did the jealous family member thing. I was like, I gotta get a new freaking calf horse. I gotta figure everything out. If Ivy can do it, then I can do it. It's a terrible idea. If that's your approach to it,
Yeah.
you're gonna fail or it's not right.
Right. No, that's true. And a lot of people, I think, feel that. And then
Yeah,
it's like
especially at the NFR. People get, you notice how weird people get at the NFR?
every year.
So weird.
I
And
felt it.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that you've watched the NFR and
No,
thought that could be me. I wish I was doing
I turn
that.
into I used to turn into a weird mess during the NFR every
Yeah.
year.
I think anybody who's rodeoed
They do.
feels that at the NFR. They're like, man, that should be me, or I could do that. That was
Parents, grandparents, cousins, random people, siblings. You just get like, if I
Yeah.
would have done these two things different, like this could be me. It's like that is
Yeah.
the worst way to look at your own life and
Yeah.
what these people had to sacrifice.
the NFR has done that for me. Just I think it does for everybody. When I would go and I wasn't real into rodeo, like everyone gets into rodeo right after the NFR,
Yep.
and then they kind of fade out by the end of the year, kind of like a New Year's resolution, if you will. But and even for working the NFR or like doing interviews at the NFR, like it seems really glamorous, but it's not. It's like 10 days of tons of work, no sleep. Like we don't have fun. Production people don't have fun at the NFR.
You should have seen Ty. Ty was an absolute ball of stress the entire
I
NFR.
believe it,
And
Ty.
after,
That's everybody.
I don't think we
works
heard from you because I don't think you woke up for like 4 days.
No.
Ty
No.
or Riley. Like we were so run down. Imagine if it would have been what Janie was doing.
And we had to work the 2 days after the NFR because we had to do an NFR recap.
Yep.
And it was just like I have such a love-hate relationship with the NFR. I've never missed one. I've gone to the NFR every year since I was a newborn because my family's from Vegas.
Yeah.
And so, my grandma, she's never missed a performance of the NFR until this last year with COVID. But I used to love it, and it was so fun, and you go shopping. Like, because everyone who's at the NFR is on vacation.
Yes.
They're going to the bar, they're going shopping, they're eating at all the restaurants, they're drinking at the rodeo.
Which was the hardest part about not being at Vegas is not having the food. That was so hard for me. And being home.
I
Like
can't,
going home every night, it was weird.
I can't say too much about it because I'm so biased towards Vegas because of the family history there.
Yeah, it's different.
Like, I was trying to be cool about it, but like NFR Vegas is like what my whole family's life was based off of.
Yeah.
And so it's been kind of tough.
I'm so happy it's going back.
Yeah, and Globe Life went so much better than I thought it was going to, but still, I'm ready
But
for
as
it
soon
to
as
go
you got
back.
away from it, you had no idea there was a big rodeo going on. It felt just like the
No.
American, but 10 days.
Exactly. But then also Vegas has like a whole element of like stress as well. I am really, really excited and nervous to see what it's going to look like when it goes back to Vegas. Like, will we have a tailgate party in Vegas? Are we going to because I know that you work all day and then you do the rodeo. And the rodeo is almost like your break at NFR.
Right.
Like, that's kind of how it was. But you definitely, once you work in NFR, you have a totally different perspective on it. And people are always like, oh, I want to work the NFR. I'm like, well, just be prepared for it to, it's not fun. It's exciting because it's the best television coverage you'll do all year and it's amazing. But it's not like you don't have time to go hang out with people. Like, so many friends come into town during NFR. I'm like, no, do not come visit me at the NFR. Like, I will not see you. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
You're just too busy.
Then they're mad at you.
I know, but they all want to. But Vegas is worse because everybody wants to go to Vegas and like vacation.
Yep.
And you're like, no, I've got to go back to the room. Got to go back to the room.
Got to go to bed.
Got to wake up at 5
So I
a.m.
don't look like the crypt keeper when I wake up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have a bridal shower to get to. You're all spiffed up in your sorority girl outfit. We better let you go.
I know. I'm actually going to Raquel Gotch's bridal shower.
Oh, nice.
That's kind of like my boss, kind of.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's got to be hard to get that gift.
I know. Well, I just went with a all-time favorite. I hope she's not listening to this. Wine glasses.
Wow. Yeah, this isn't live, so it's already passed.
She was registered for wine glasses, and I always, when people get married, I always go for like some kind of alcohol-based gift.
From like Pottery Barn or Williams Sonoma.
Well, it's the time to celebrate, you know? it's a time to celebrate. So yeah, that's what I'm going with. But
It's a good gift.
thank you. I should have brought some. To the podcast. You guys can use some wine glasses around here.
I don't think we broke any of ours.
Oh, you've got a bunch?
Oh, no.
That's what I should have done I should have had a glass of wine. How classy would that have been?
Monroe's were in here last week. There's not much left.
Yeah, I believe that. Gosh, I love that family. That whole family is just about as good as it gets.
They're pretty great.
I actually tried to talk Tassie into coming again today for the podcast.
She's scarred from the last one.
Is she? With Jimmy?
From the experiences after.
Oh.
Yeah. That's all I'll say.
There's things that we did after that episode that just can't be spoken of.
What?
Anyway.
You guys should say that because people's minds are going to go a lot of different directions.
Yeah, they are.
You're like,
It may sound worse than it really was.
I spent a lot of time with Jimmy. I just can't picture anything getting too out of hand, but could be wrong.
Anyway, that's a great place to cut it.
Anything else? Is that all?
That's all for this. We can talk about the rest of that stuff after we turn them off.
That's fair.
Bye.
Wait, how do you end the podcast?
We don't. We just stop it. We just cut it.
You just stop?
Well, normally we wait for you to get into some like existential crisis you're trying to resolve and you start tearing up. Then we cut it in the middle of that.
Oh,
so
I forgot to
you don't get your
cry.
resolution.
What could I cry about?
I don't know. Do you have any parental issues?
No.
Does your dad love a monkey over you? Because that works.
Did Anthony cry about that?
No.
Because I didn't think he would cry about it.
No, he didn't.
No.
Would have been better if he would have.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't.
Anthony's great though.
Oh yeah, yeah. Anthony's got so much personality. Oh my gosh.
He does.
I'll always look back on those times because me, Anthony, and Colby Yates, we did PBR together for a year and a half, and we went to. I think we did like 60 episodes a year or something crazy. So it was always like the three of us all the time traveling to random places and just good times.
I like watching my sister bully him. That's one of my favorite things.
I can see that. I can see that being like a real, because they're both huge personalities. I don't know who would
Ivy's
win.
a bully though.
She's nice to me, but I
Yeah.
can see it. She's feisty.
She's a bully. She's always been a bully.
Is she mean to you?
No.
Do you
not
have
me.
an existential family crisis with Ivy bullying you?
Ivy's never bullied me. Yeah, surprisingly.
She
close.
likes you. I've never heard her say anything bad about you ever.
We're siblings. I would hope not.
Yeah. I talk shit on my brother all the time.
Yeah, I was gonna say I talk shit about my
Ben.
brother.
Yeah, we don't really talk shit about each other. Yeah, my
Wait, is
sister's
your
one of my
brother's name
closest
Ben?
friends. I would never talk shit about her.
All in, obviously, what?
I was gonna say, is your brother's name Ben?
Yeah.
My brother's name is Ben too.
It's such a good brother name. Brother Ben.
I don't have a brother. I would hope his name's not Ben since both of yours.
No,
is.
Ben and I love Ben, so I don't talk shit on him, just all in jokes, of course.
That's not what you said.
All in jokes. All in jokes.
Well, we can cut that part out, and then you look like a terrible person.
And
Oh,
Ben's
horrible
not
s-
listening to this
horrible
podcast. He
sibling.
doesn't. That's like my brother is not in rodeo in any shape, way, or form.
Really?
Like I don't think
Never
he's,
was?
I don't think he's ever watched the Cowboy Channel.
That's mean.
I know, but it's like it's not because like that's not our relationship. Like we're close and we're friends, but
Is he way older than you or way younger?
he's just 3 years older.
Oh.
He's got 4 kids,
Oh, wow.
full sleeve tattoos.
Oh, wow.
Kind of like into heavy metal stuff and
Oh,
craft beer.
I'm
and
into heavy metal. Not
he's
craft
just-
beer.
Yeah, he's really cool. But I don't know, like you get
Does
it.
he own like a motorcycle shop?
It's nice. No, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. He had a craft beer restaurant, brewery.
So
kind of
they're
thing.
not like biker tattoos. They're like hipster tattoos. Craft beer. I'm just thinking
Yeah, not biker. I don't know. He's his own person.
curly mustache, but different curly mustache.
I like that relationship with my brother where like our siblingship, if you will.
Does he live in Austin?
No, he's in Canyon.
Oh.
Is not revolved around rodeo at all. Like it's, you know, you have like a different relationship with your siblings. Like rodeo is what my life revolves around, but it's not who I am at the same time, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
No, that's totally me. I've got a business that has nothing to do with rodeo
Yeah.
outside of this.
Like I have a personality and I have stuff outside of talking about rodeo. In fact, I actually like to not talk about rodeo a lot of times because that's all I do every day on Western Sports Roundup. I really was prepared. I thought on this podcast I was prepared to have to talk about all my coworkers and all that kind of stuff.
Your coworkers?
Yeah.
Like Amy?
No, I was thinking like Steve.
Oh. Steve's a nice guy.
No, I didn't mean. Why do you automatically assume like I was gonna say bad things?
I was just the way you set that up. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know what could possibly be your problem with Steve. Steve has a great mustache and he's a very kind
I
man.
love Steve. Steve is like
He's got
my.
a firm handshake. He's a nice guy.
Steve is like my cool uncle.
I like his glasses.
I work with Steve more than I work with anybody else because of Western Sports Roundup.
Yeah.
So like,
What coworker would you want to talk about?
I meant in a good way.
What coworker would you want to talk about in a bad way?
No, I mean all of them in a good way.
No, I don't care about the good way. Like, that's great. Congratulations, you like your coworkers. I want to hear the dirt.
I don't have any dirt.
Oh.
No, I really don't. I don't know why I thought we were going to talk about it. I thought we were talking about Carly,
No.
my producer.
Why?
I don't know. It's a good point.
Well, tell me more about Carly, the producer.
No, now I don't want to talk
No,
about
she's
it.
nice too. They're all nice people.
I love Carly.
I
Carly's,
thought you were going to say something like that you had this deep scorn for someone.
No.
I don't know. That would have been way more interesting than, oh, Carly's great, Steve's great, Amy's great. Like, what if you were like, that Amy or that Carly? We can hate them so much.
McKee. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I love McKee too.
This is a podcast of drama. You got to bring the drama.
Oh, drama. Yeah, you're right. It is a pot. Feel like I've got some good stuff, but I just can't think of like anything off the top of my head. I should have prepped for this. You should have been like, think of 3 dramatic things.
I'll get the teleprompter set up.
Yeah, Riley, where were you at on that one? Riley's the
ahead.
director of all this stuff. She's supposed to be giving you the hints.
Of 3 dramatic things.
I mean, 3 is a fine number. It could be 1. It could be 5. Pick an odd number. It feels like even number maybe is not the way to go.
What about 2? I know it's an even number, but
3 is just always a good call.
Is it?
it's like top 3.
3 is my lucky number.
Did a fortune cookie tell
We
you
do
that?
everything's in terms of 3s on the show. You know, your Kubota top 3 headlines of the day on Western Sports Roundup.
Huh.
Always wanted to say that dramatically.
Not everything's better in 3s.
No, not everything.
You don't want to be on your 3rd husband.
Well, or your 2nd.
You might be, depending on what the first is like.
Celebrity deaths come
Or
in
your
3s.
4th. Celebrity deaths come in 3s.
Yeah, usually.
Give me one example.
I
I'm
that one
trying
went
to
over
think.
my head.
That was really not well thought out, Ty.
Did Ron Williamson and Amy Winehouse die in the same year? I feel like they did.
Robin Williams?
Yes.
Maybe. I feel like you're right, but I don't know.
I gotta Google this now.
Okay, look it up. Look it up.
See, now this is where we're like, hey, let's stop the episode, and then we get into a bunch of weird stuff that makes no sense and has no bearing on anything whatsoever.
That's okay.
All you would have had to do to keep this on track is talk some shit, but you didn't. So now we're in the weeds.
I feel like I've got something good.
Could be about anybody.
Oh, favorite Justin McKee quote from Montgomery, Alabama. The audio completely cut out during the bull riding, and like for the whole Coliseum. And he had to just like step in from the studio and commentate the bull riding, but like he had no way of knowing which bull rider it was because
Really?
there was no sound and the technology wasn't sending, and they do a weird buck order, you know?
Yep.
And so he literally was watching a bull ride, and some bull rider came up and he goes, "Holy hoppin' hamburger."
What?
It just made my whole day. I was like, wow.
Holy hoppin' hamburger.
Holy hoppin' hamburger. That was a
Holy
bull
hoppin'
ride
hamburger.
right there. And I was like, that was pure gold. Wow.
So all right, so here's the celebrity death 3. Alan Thicke, George Michael, and Carrie Fisher died like in the same time span.
So you're saying that like celebrities kind of all die close together in 3s?
Occasionally, yes.
You think it's because they drank the same vial of baby blood?
Gross.
I have another sister. She's into conspiracy theories.
I actually knew that.
Yeah. But that's not talking shit either. I actually really adore her as well.
It's good.
My favorite thing to talk about with her is the tinfoil hat stuff. It's really interesting.
What do you mean?
It's just interesting. You ever have those deep conversations with someone who full-heartedly believes in chemtrails
No.
or flat earths?
She's a flat earther?
She's not, but I've talked to some. She could be. I guess I've never allowed to get that far.
I don't understand how you could be a flat earther, like when they have obviously pictures of the round earth.
The internet told me though.
Everybody's searching for existential meaning in
That
the
too.
world.
Yeah, wow. That's
Yeah,
deep.
with all the prescription drugs, some people just want to find the end of the earth and jump off.
You know what I should have done?
Although there wouldn't be a sound at the end, right? Because it'd be space.
What I should have done at the beginning of the show was do what I do before every episode of Western Sports Roundup, where I sing everybody a song.
Sing it.
Well, I can't because it has to be impromptu.
You wouldn't be the first person to sing in here.
Who else is some? But are they like singers? Because I know you
Yeah,
have.
they're singers. Are
No,
you
my
not a
songs.
singer?
No, God, my songs are like get people hyped. It's a day in Western Sports Roundup. I can't sing it. You're gonna have to just ask about it because I'll embarrass myself and it'll make the show.
Huh.
Is this edited?
No.
Oh, not at all.
I mean,
Slightly edited.
there's camera angles that have to be edited. So every time you speak, it's got to go to you. Every time I speak, it's got to go to me. But
It's light edited.
we're unfiltered. Unless somebody says something really strange that they don't want to be put on. But we really try hard not to edit it. In fact, we don't even give people the option. Usually we just put them out.
No, I don't mean like edited as in like to take bad things out. I mean like edited to take out like the dead space.
Oh, I do that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Although there's not very much dead space in these shows.
Everything we say is just crucial information.
This is a podcast,
Just
not
nonstop-
Western Sports Roundup.
Non-stop entertainment.
Yeah, depending on the guest.
Yeah. Who's your favorite guest
My favorite?
ever?
Ooh, that's a good question.
You only get one.
I only
And
get
it can't
one.
be your sister.
She's not my favorite.
Wow.
She's one of my favorite people, but she's not my favorite guest because it would just be like that's just a normal conversation.
Yeah.
Favorite guest? That is tough.
Pick wisely. You're gonna upset
Because
some people.
I'm super political, and I really like the political ones that nobody else likes.
Okay.
Because I've tried some pretty like high
He's
level.
evading the question.
I've
He is.
really had a lot of people on this show.
I know.
This is episode 71.
Favorite guest. See, someone's gonna be happy, and then someone's like, "Well, I
That's what I
swore
said.
it would have been me." I don't have a favorite.
He can't pick.
Yeah,
Pick 3.
3 favorites:
Let's go.
Fallon, Ivy.
I told you can't pick Ivy.
Oh, sorry,
God, he
can't
just
pick
breaks
Ivy.
the rules.
You can't.
Fallon, Thomas Balch, and I want to think about someone who gave you the most shit. Ty.
Anthony.
No, not Anthony.
Anthony is one of my top 3.
Really?
Trying to think. Who else? Who else gave me shit?
Paige, our practice episode that we never aired.
You're not allowed to pick family members.
What was your favorite episode?
Oh, you're asking me.
No, I was asking the wall.
I thought you were asking.
I'm asking you.
Marty Yates kind of gave me shit too.
If you've listened to enough of them to have a favorite.
I'm a terrible person. I knew this was gonna come up. I've only listened to like 3 or 4.
Oh, yeah, you are a terrible person.
But in your defense, this is the only I've never listened. I don't listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
Which I'm like the only person on the planet that doesn't. I can't like focus. I'm like super ADD.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, hence the eyes.
I think that's the eyes.
I think it is too.
Yeah.
I like think about other. Yeah,
What was that? Did you just flip me off?
No, I had an itch.
Oh.
Just used my middle finger.
Yeah. I was like, is that because I made fun of your eyes? You opened the door for that. I didn't cause that.
Well, apparently it's noticeable.
In fact, you brought it up first thing you came in here. Hey, just so you know, my eyes are really weird. Don't be uncomfortable. That's about how you said
I
it.
didn't say it like that. It's on record. Is it? Were we recording at that point?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, so just going to assume that that's what happened because I don't remember exact details.
I'm trying to think if I've
Wait,
listened.
I may have recorded it.
I've listened to like a few murder podcasts. And
Are those good? I've never heard one of
Yes,
those.
they are awesome.
Really?
Yeah.
Doesn't sound awesome.
That's like the
I
only
want
kind
to
of.
see someone get murdered, not hear them get murdered.
But the stories are so interesting because they
Yes.
get so in depth. That's the only kind of podcast I've ever listened to before listening to. Well, the nice thing about me getting lost in traffic and being a horrific driver is that I had a chance to listen to the podcast.
That was a surprising one because our studios are literally like 2 miles apart. It's like, hey, just kind of go the same way you go to work.
Yeah. Well, on the exit right there to
It's one exit past.
You know how you exit on 15A?
Yeah.
I exited on 15A. There was a little backup on that exit, so I thought, I've just got my toll tag. I'm going to get on the express lane.
Hell yeah.
And the express lane does not go here.
Next thing you know,
It
you're
goes
in
to
Highland Park.
DFW Airport. Like, I literally got to DFW Airport
Wow.
and then circled back around. So that's why I was like 30 minutes late. So I apologize. I'm normally very punctual to everything. I'm early. But
That must be a nice quality. I don't have that.
I'm not that way in like my social life or things like that, but when it comes to work or like a show, I'm always early because I hate for people, like for me, for like Cowboy Channel or like with guests, and you maybe feel this way, like you're probably never late. I don't know, maybe you are.
Never.
To a podcast when you have like a guest coming that's like depending on you.
Not unless something traumatic happens on the interstate.
Right. Like you get in the express lane.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, really. And it's happened to me before. I admit somebody had to wait here for me because I got stuck in traffic. Donna K.
It's awful.
It's the worst feeling.
It makes you feel, and so for me, I'm like, if I ever have like a guest, because contestants or people you have on the show, they're doing you a favor. Like, we're not paying them to come on Cowboy Channel. Just like I'm assuming I'm not getting paid after this podcast.
Not unless you take one of their 2 jobs.
I'm getting paid in ranch water to be here.
Yeah. That was free from a while ago.
Okay. Anyways, my point is that I feel
They gave it to us.
like
for
I've
free.
got to be early for work, but in terms of everything else in my life,
Yeah.
I'm late.
My trick is I go from one job to the next, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And if I get stuck on the wrong spot in the highway, it could be bad.
Yeah.
So,
I don't drive well in the city. I'm a small town.
no, I take back roads to get here because I won't take 35, so it takes longer. But going southbound around 5 o'clock doesn't work that well.
Big oof.
Yeah. So on the way
Favorite,
here, I listened to Anthony because he's an amazing, cool guy. And I don't know why. I just decided that would be the one that I would start with.
His is a really good one. It's super entertaining, and it's funny. That's a funny one.
I listened to the first 23 minutes, and then I switched over to Jess Lockwood because I was interested in that. See what I wanted to know about all his injuries and all that crazy stuff. Because that's my problem is I get ADD, and so
Did you listen to the whole Jess Lockwood one?
No, because I never make it through a whole. Because
I think
Anthony,
the second half of that one's the better one.
what interested me, my problem with my ADD is Anthony was talking about something with PBR, and you guys were talking about PBR. And I was like, oh, PBR. So then I was like, I gotta go listen to Jess Lockwood. And Jess Lockwood will talk about injuries, and I'm like, oh, injuries. I gotta go talk and listen to the. And so I never complete. It sparks an idea to go listen to a different one.
See, the thing you have to do with these shows is usually you got to listen, wait.
Because the end is all the good stuff.
Well, if there's going to be tough questions or weird questions, like what I asked Jess Lockwood in the second half of the podcast, that's where, the juicy questions come in. So you miss those.
So just from now on, just fast forward to the second half of all the podcasts.
No, but then if you listen to a Fallon
Taylor
Taylor episode, the whole thing is gold the whole time. I don't know. It just depends on the episode. Some people are reserved at first, and they start drinking a little bit, or they don't drink at all, and they're just, I don't know. They're all good.
I get that.
We've had a terrible one. I won't let kids come on here, though, because that's awkward.
You won't let kids come on the show?
No.
What do you mean? Like children?
If you're under the age of 20, probably don't want. I've only let one person come on who's young. Two.
When you say
Rocker and Riley Webb.
Oh yeah. When you say let them come on, do people reach out to you guys to be on the show?
Nonstop.
They text you and they're like, hey, I want to be on your podcast?
Message us on Instagram, on Facebook. Random people get my phone number all the time.
That is crazy. And you just be like, no.
No, it's super awkward,
okay.
right? Because a lot of people want to come on and promote themselves or their things. But no, people reach out all the time. I mean, this is the biggest podcast in rodeo by a long ways, and
absolutely.
It would make sense that people would want to come on it, I guess. I don't really know.
I really follow you guys on Instagram and listen to all your sound bites and stuff.
Yeah, Ty cuts good clips.
Yeah. I just don't. I need to get into the podcasting because I think I would really like it. I just I really have a hard time staying focused.
Yeah.
Well, if you need a producer, thumbs up
A producer for
for a podcast.
Oh.
He's
He's ready to leave you.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not ready to leave. I'm just doing freelance.
He's just opening up his options.
What makes you think you can freelance? Have you looked at your contract?
I don't have a contract.
You absolutely have a
I do?
contract. Yeah.
Fight.
We were just talking about fighting.
Talking to the
Before you
UFC.
got here, we were talking about fighting for quite some time.
Wow.
Yeah, not fit him.
I've
and I
actually
fighting,
almost
but-
gotten in 2 fights at 2 separate events now.
Do tell.
Okay, so I probably shouldn't tell the story, but I'm going to because it's funny.
These are the best kind of stories.
Actually, I probably shouldn't because I feel like Jake Finlay will be really mad at me.
All right, tell
He
us
can't be
after.
mad at you. I mean, he's your significant other.
Okay.
You have all the power.
Right. We're 50-50.
That's good. That's how relationship should be.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't feel like I hold the power in that one. I just had we almost got in this fight with this one chick. It was at the American semifinals, and it was the final day of the American semifinals, and you go in and you do the in-house interviews with the giant $2,500 check. If you guys watched that. Anyways, did you watch the American semifinals? Mm-hmm. So it's really high stress because I like to kind of chat with somebody before an interview just to make them feel comfortable, kind of like what you're saying with the podcast.
Yeah.
But you can't do that in an in-house interview situation. You just run out there, hold the check, ask your questions, like literally run out of the arena to get out of the picture because they
Right.
don't want you in their picture. And this one chick like came up to me as I was about to go and interview Cody DeMoss, which is very stressful. Anytime you interview Cody DeMoss, it's very stressful.
Yeah.
Because you just never know what he's going to say. You know, if you guys recall the American 2017, you know what I'm talking about.
I don't.
I'm just saying, but I don't remember what he did.
Whenever she was like, it wasn't my interview, but she was like, she did a great job. Her interview questions were great. She was like, you know, when you jumped off that horse, like, you know, what was in your mind when you realized that you were going to be eligible for the $1 million, or that you had $1 million in your pocket or something like that.
Yeah.
And he literally goes, I'd rather have a gold buckle.
I actually do remember that now.
And just like silence. Anyways, I know my time. I haven't had that kind of a moment with Cody D yet, but I just like feel like it's coming.
Yeah.
So I always like really try to set him up to not say something like that.
Why? That's amazing.
It's just real awkward. You don't know how to respond whenever they like shut you down on your question.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You were like, you know, you could cake it one way and be like, well, that's a good point. A gold buckle would be really nice. But you don't really want to say, you know, there's just not a lot of things you can say in response.
You just be like, okay. Well, sounds like you need to go figure out a way to get a gold buckle, Cody. You could do that.
Well, $1 million doesn't hurt either.
No, get you there. Anyway, fight.
Anyways, so I was stressed out about that, and I'm with my producer Carly, and we're talking, and we're like, okay, how do we get this figured out? Cody D, what do we ask him? You know, we're chatting, and this girl comes up to me, and she's like, hey, like, I need to talk to you. And it was like some chick I've never seen in my life, and she had crazy eyes.
Ooh. Crazier than your very own eyes?
Yeah.
Oh, God. That sounds like a stare down from hell.
And I was like, well, maybe she wants to, like, take a picture, or maybe she just wants, like, to...
Does that happen to you a lot? People ask to take photos with you a lot?
Older people, yeah. I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way.
No.
People over the age of 60.
Wow.
A lot.
Different fan base than what I'm used to.
Anyways, I don't know what she wanted. She just kept yelling at me and was just like, hey, I need to talk. And I was like, I'm about to go
Was
do
this an older lady?
No, this was like a young chick.
Really?
And I was like, I was literally walking down the stairs to interview Cody DeMoss. And I was like, I'll talk to you after. And like go in there, do the interview, come out, and like trying to watch the rodeo to like get ready for the next one because it's quick.
Right.
And she like started like kicking at the back of my leg, like, and finally my producer Carly had to be like, you need to back off. Like, go away. And this chick was super mad.
What did she want?
I don't know.
You never,
I never
that's the whole
saw
story?
her. I never saw her again. Same thing happened in Montgomery, Alabama. This guy with really dark circles in his eyes, kind of a strange mustache, like just kept standing by me and like kept like tapping at me. Wouldn't go away. I stood there the whole rodeo. Just stood there and like kept taking my picture. And it was just like, and Brian, my sweet cameraman, he wasn't going to fight him. Finally I had to be like, yo, you need to like, do you mind? Like, you got to go. And he was real offended, but I was like, you've been so weird.
You told him that?
Yeah.
Good.
Because it was weird.
Yeah, you were probably getting up in that guy's trunk if you weren't careful.
Yeah. Or like a lot of people from Facebook, you know, they all want to, it is kind of odd. Some people only watch Cowboy Channel.
There's some weird people out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other TV.
I'm not saying the people that watch Cowboy Channel are weird, because they're not.
You said that they're old, and now you're saying they're weird. Weird old people, you seem to have some...
No, people who watch Cowboy Channel are awesome, but sometimes I've never experienced that until like this last month. People have gotten strange.
People come out of their houses finally.
They've been in quarantine for too long.
Ranchers like live quarantine lives normally, like
right. And I'm not talking.
Channel,
these are not ranchers.
Exposed to large amounts
these
of
are not
people.
like rancher people. Like ranch people are
They're
the
like the
best.
kind of people who buy a rodeo ticket like they buy a carnival ticket.
Ranch people are the best people because they don't really care.
Yeah.
Like no ranch person ever fangirls over any kind of celebrity.
No rodeo person fan or anybody in it generally fangirls over anybody.
That's exactly because they
no
don't.
one cares.
Exactly.
Like, that's great. Your horse is awesome, or that's great. You rode that one good, and we move on because we got other shit to think about.
I'm sure Ivy I know has dealt with some crazy people, times 100. I've only dealt with 2, maybe 3.
We've all dealt with Ivy's crazy people before. They target all of us.
Yeah, I believe.
Haley's dealt with crazy people.
I believe that. I think but at the same time, like, you never see that with, like, men. Like, I feel like men don't have as many crazy people that are, like, reaching out to them.
Oh,
Do you?
Not as large of amount as some people I know, but yeah.
Maybe it's just because, like, with women, like, it's scarier.
Especially with women, like, TV personalities, too. It's just...
women do some weird things.
It's just...
Such a general statement.
Oh, no, that's not what I was saying, but, like, a lot of women TV personalities have so many weird idiots to deal with. Like, my old broadcast teacher in, like, high school, she was in TV news. She had to deal with a stalker that she almost killed her.
Right. Local news girls go through it all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I've had a lot of female friends that work in local news, and they've all of them get really inappropriate pictures sent to them. They get stalker type things, and, like, they're just local news people. Like, you don't have to be famous. But I didn't know that guys went through that.
Yeah, I get weird DMs all the time.
From chicks or just general?
Women. I mean, they could be guys pretending to be women, I guess, who are trying to fuck with me, but I don't know. It creates a fun opportunity for someone like me to, like, be really witty, so I don't mind it.
I don't.
Yeah.
You're the kind of guy that just messes with, like, the spam callers. I feel like you would do that.
Absolutely.
We need to film some of those.
Yeah, this was, like, just a few weeks ago. Some girl just started, I don't know where she got my phone number. She must have Googled me and maybe got it from my website, from my other business. Who knows? Just sending me naked photos to my cell phone. Like, it's one thing that comes to Instagram or something like that, because, like, but then you're like, you had to do some work to find my phone number. So you either know someone who knows me or you knew where to look. Ugh. Or maybe they just Googled me and then there's, like, website, phone number. I don't know.
I haven't gotten as many photos as a lot of my local news friends have gotten. Way more photos.
Get some?
I've gotten a couple, but...
You ever get some mushroom TP photos?
This is actually something I am proud of. I don't know for sure that all the photos I've gotten are what people assume. They're, like, the one that's, like, photos sent to you from someone that's not your friend, like, graphic image, like, click to view. And I'm like, I don't even click to view. I just block. Block. Because I don't want to... That's scary stuff. I'm paranoid about, like, getting kidnapped and stuff.
You should be.
Beyond. I think all women are.
Rodeo girls need to be more scared of it than they are.
I think they are very much so. Like, I think that's why you see so many rodeo girls have those attack dogs, like those German Shepherds.
Some of them, or other ones, have really small miniature Australian Shepherds that are the size of potbelly pigs.
That don't do anything.
Can't do anything.
Yeah. No, I think all women are scared of getting kidnapped.
Should be in this world. Some freaks out there.
Yeah. In our parking lot at Cowboy Channel is so sketchy, like, because we have to...
You're by some weird living situations. That's the problem with stockyards.
We have to park, like, way back behind the petting zoo, and there's no real light back there. And so Steve Kenyon, who is just, you know, the nicest guy, he walks us all out to our cars after work, because we get out work at dark, and there's no lights. And I'm just dreading the day that Steve Kenyon has to go, like, full ninja and protect all of us, because I bet he's got it in him.
I'm sure he's been preparing for years.
I think he's been doing some...
He wears the comfortable shoes like he's ready.
Yeah, he's ready to, and that's what it is. When people say, why are you wearing those shoes? And be like, because I'm prepared to, like, defend these women in the parking lot
because
after
if you've
work.
Ever gotten into a fight wearing cowboy boots, it's not practical. It doesn't work well. Your feet move too much. If you have leather bottom boots on, they slide.
A lot of weight.
Yeah, too much give. Yeah. So he's right wearing the lace-ups. That's smart.
It's for our protection.
Yeah. You can't karate kick with boots on.
You could, but you know your foot's going to slip out of it, and then when you come back down, you're going to snap your ankle, and you're going to get your ass kicked.
It's not practical.
As long as you're fighting somebody else in boots, it's an even playing field. If they're in, like, something
athletic,
some nice, like, 501 and, you know, New Balance sneakers, they're spry. It's like, you're going to lose, even if you're a better guy.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work.
Okay.
Yeah, I love this. This is gonna be a topic we end on.
You're better to do the whole peacock thing, like tie with his hair and just try to intimidate them, like with the moth. You know how the moths do that?
I thought that was for the headphones, like an effect to, like, really
a little bit
hide the headphones.
Not really.
No, it's like an Indian headdress. It's to intimidate his foes.
I like that term. You're peacocking. It fits.
Please do not make
literally
name.
fits.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, normally, you know, peacocking is where you
try
to impress women by dressing a certain way, but you're literally peacocking.
I hate you.
I'm sorry. We've been talking about your hair all day.
I'm really surprised you eat. I don't know. No. Sorry. Oh gosh, this is rule number 1.
Put your phone on silent?
It's Tassie.
Oh. Interesting.
She's always on call. Tassie's, yeah. She's probably like, where are you?
She waiting for you at the bridal shower?
Yeah.
Is it at the stockyards?
Yeah, Provender Hall. It's me. Real fancy.
Wow. Don't
Look
know
at
what
you.
that is.
Trying. Just going to try to blend in.
Seems like she's trying to keep this podcast going because she doesn't have to be there for another 35 minutes.
I know. I'm like, what else can we talk about? What's your favorite color? Tell me about your childhood. Start from the beginning.
Well, I don't want to hear about my childhood. I get bad messages on Instagram and Facebook if I talk about
I don't want to hear
childhood
about
too
you
much.
anymore, Chance.
Oh, they're
Yeah.
sick of you?
Some people. I don't want to hear about your childhood problems anymore. It's like, sorry, if people ask me, what am I supposed to tell them? Peachy?
Yeah. Well, I did walk into that. I said, tell me about your childhood start from the beginning because I know it'd be a long story.
Everybody
and we
does.
definitely missed the shower.
You missed it?
No, we would if we started from the beginning.
No, not mine. I'll give the cliff notes now. It's all resolved. All right, we'll catch you guys in the next one.
On that note, thank you for watching the podcast.
Or listening.
Listening. You can watch it too.
This has been The Gauge, hosted by me, Chance Conrado, produced and edited by our guy Ty Yeager. Shout out to the executive producers Dustin Pointer and Cody Denton. Marketing and content produced by Riley Chone. Our theme song is by Shay Ashshire and the Night Howlers. Make sure to rate and review this podcast as well as follow The Gauge on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And make sure to subscribe to The Gauge wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you guys next time.